Getting started. Here we are. Mic check 1 2 1 2. Special Tuesday edition of Pick and Roll Podcast. All right, let's get this joint shared up. Do what we gotta do. All right. Let's go. And we are getting there. And all right, Super Dave.
Yo.
60 episode 40. It's your boy Chris. I'm here with Super Dave. Oh, gotta cut that down.
What you doing?
Ah, man. I don't know why. That's popping up.
What are you doing?
Yeah, man. Why am I hearing that? See, when things happen on Tuesday, it don't happen the way it's supposed to happen.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But we're gonna definitely get to it. How you feeling? Let's start it off like that, man. Let me get in my bag. How you feeling, man?
Feel good, man.
Was this another excellent weekend of NFL football?
It was.
Of course, we're gonna have to lead off with football. I was debating we can get to the Brian Flores stuff after this.
Yeah.
We got to talk about the games because that's what we do every single week. On a scale of 1 to 10, rate this championship weekend.
Another 10, man.
Another 10?
Another 10.
All right.
Both games didn't disappoint.
So let's start with the first game of the weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Joe Burrow and the Cincinnati Bengals plus Patrick Mahomes and the three-headed monster of the Kansas City Chiefs.
Mm-hmm.
Bengals pull that game out by 3.
Mm-hmm.
Your thoughts on, I guess, I got to figure out how I'm going to ask you this question. I would say this. Did KC do more to lose the game, or did Cincinnati do more to win the game? Is it one of the biggest blunders in playoff history?
I'm not gonna say it was a blunder. The only thing that I would call a blunder was KC's play calling at the end of the first half.
I thought that was the beginning of the downhill of the play calling too. It all went downhill after that.
Yep.
Because this game, if you look at what KC is capable of, I didn't feel like they exhausted all options available to them to try to win this game.
Right.
We know they tried to win the game,
but
Andy Reid's play calling seemed to go off of a cliff. Is this one of the biggest upsets you've ever seen?
No, because they're still the Giants over the Patriots in the Super Bowl.
Oh, you said it's still okay. But so it's not the biggest.
No.
But where would you rank this in terms of playoff upsets? Because I put it like the Tim Tebow over the Steelers. I thought that was a hell of an upset.
Yeah, that's an upset. I don't think that ranks over. I don't think this Bengals win is over that Tebow over the Steelers in the playoffs. I don't think that's over that.
I felt like from watching that game, Kansas City was in firm control of that game, and then arrogance set in. I think Andy Reid thought no matter what I call,
it's going to work.
It's going to work. We're just better than them.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a testament for the Bengals to hang in there. It's a testament to having a solid football team and playing within yourself at all times.
Mm-hmm.
Because those other teams that are gambling and coloring outside the lines, you're going to make them pay because all you do is take the plays that are there. I got to give Joe Burrow a ton of credit for taking what was there.
Yeah.
Every single time. You thought, like, man, coming into that game, we thought he was going to get beat up like he did the week before.
Yeah.
Because if KC has one thing on defense, it's not a secondary, it's a D-line.
Yeah.
And they were getting back there, but it seemed like you felt like, man, he's holding this ball awfully long. but then it's going underneath to the right play, or it's going out to the flats for the right play. It's the swing pass. It's, you know what I mean? He was hitting his safety valves, and he was doing that all the way down the field.
Something he wasn't doing against Tennessee.
Right. But also I think Tennessee dialed up a much better defensive game plan. They have a lot more talent on defense, I think, than KC has. How would you rate Joe Burrow's performance? Being a second-year quarterback on kind of a bum knee.
On the road.
On the road. They were road warriors the last 2 weeks, right?
Yeah.
How would you rate Joe Burrow's performance Sunday?
Joe Burrows had that was a great performance by Joe Burrows. I give him a 9.
Okay.
I give him a 9. Because he didn't have a rhythm in the first half. That can go towards the head coach, you know what I mean, or whoever calls the plays.
Yeah.
They weren't in sync in the first half.
Mm-hmm.
It looked like, and then when Kansas City had the ball, it looked like they were trying to get every skilled player, they were trying to get them a touchdown. Went to Tyreek Hill first, went to Kelsey second, went to Mecole Hardman third. They were trying to get everybody a touchdown.
Yeah.
And then, because I think when we spoke before the show, I think the Bengals defense that they were playing in the first half was kind of like the defense that Buffalo was playing in that drive to get the game to overtime, and then the drive to win the game for Kansas City.
Yeah.
They were playing a lot of zone.
Soft zone coverage.
They were rushing. Yeah. They were rushing 4, and then Mahomes would dance around and he'll find people. Then that play right before the half, where they stopped Tyreek Hill, that was a turning point, because now you gave Cincinnati some momentum. What people don't realize is when they played early in the season, at halftime, Cincinnati was down by 18 points.
Yeah.
Came back and won that game. Playoff, they're down 18 points and they going into halftime.
And the same thing happened again. When I saw that play call and them not taking the field goal, I said, oh, these guys feel like this game is over. And I'm not going to sit here and pretend to be like the sidekick guy. I kind of felt like the game was over too. I felt like Cincinnati just wasn't up to the task and they had finally met their match. But when I saw it, I said it during the game. I said, man, KC's arrogance then created a situation, because Cincinnati did nothing but come out and respond the entire second half. Their defense stepped up, and I couldn't believe it's like, it's one of those things. I was disgusted with the way Andy Reid was approaching the call. I felt like they approached that second half the way Dipset approached Versus. They didn't realize, like, hey, there's professionals across this field from us.
Right.
There's guys out here that really want to play.
They get paid too.
Right. They get paid too. And then you started seeing a different coverage. And that's a testament to Cincinnati's coaching staff. They changed the coverage from the first half to the second half. They came out that locker room on fire when KC came out that locker room flat at home, which is inexcusable. You know, I'll say this. I think Jamar Chase is already a top 5 receiver. I have to say that. I think this guy is almost unguardable. They have a great receiving core too. You got to give it up to Higgins. You got to give it up to Tyler Boyd. Their tight end is very solid. Uzoma got hurt though,
he got
early,
hurt. But
the backup tight end was even balling. I said, man,
they only threw him one pass.
Then who was that? The fourth was that the tight end?
No, they threw the backup tight end. They only threw him one pass.
Oh, okay. I know Higgins made a lot of big catches, and so did Boyd.
Yeah,
and they were coming up with those 3rd and long, 4th and long conversions, 4th down conversions. I mean, Burrow just wasn't missing, and I'm trying to figure out what I saw, like who Joe Burrow's going to be going forward.
Right.
Because I only heard one person I know really hype up Joe Burrow coming out of college. A lot of people are like, oh, I don't know. Yeah, he won a national championship, but who knows if it translates, this, that, and third. I heard those doubts, but I had one of my homies tell me, and he played college football. He's a quarterback. He said, nah, Burrow's the real deal,
right,
Chris. And I'm trying to figure out what type of quarterback he is, because I mean, we've seen him light it up, right? Put up those numbers. He looks extremely great, like great. But I don't know. Is he the type of quarterback? You know, does he gunsling in the moments it's needed, or is he going to do what he did against KC and just make the right play every time?
Right.
You know, is it going to be Elway the drive? Because that's what it reminded me of. But except it was without the big plays.
Right.
You know what I mean? It really wasn't downfield. He just killed them.
Yeah.
Making the right read every single time.
Yeah, he was just taking what they were giving.
Every time.
Right.
Every time. And I mean, it's just, I'll put it this way. Where do you see, how do you grade Pat Mahomes' performance?
Pat Mahomes, he proved, especially in that second half.
Reg said your squad is racist. We'll get to that.
Very. Pat Mahomes, nobody looks at Patrick Mahomes as invincible anymore.
No.
Because the way, and it kind of goes towards Andy Reid too, because the way the Bengals adjusted in the second half, Kansas City didn't adjust, or they didn't see what they were doing. Like if we could see it on the TV, I'm pretty sure they can see it.
Oh yeah.
We talk about it a lot. What Kansas City did was they did a must rush with 3. So they rushed 3. They had the spy. And then they played man-to-man in the back end. So now those lanes that were there in the first half when you were playing zone are not there while they're playing man-to-man.
Mm-hmm.
And then now Mahomes can't really run around the pocket because there's no rush. The 3 that's rushing, all they doing is just making sure you stay where you need to be.
Right. Stay right in that pocket.
And then now you can't step up because they have a spy.
I heard an interesting take today. And this is one of the things that Skip Bayless was bringing up. And Shannon agreed. It was funny. And I've wanted to say this, but I didn't quite know if it was, you know, like look, I don't feel like dying on every hill.
Right.
Right. But Mahomes' mechanics, I think he relies far too much on scrambling and bootlegging and rolling out. And teams that usually beat the Chiefs prevent a lot of that stuff, and they get hands on him. They hit this guy.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I felt like if Mahomes had to stand in the pocket the way Joe Burrow does, or the way pocket passers do, the way even Josh Allen's learned how to do and gotten much better at, I don't think he's the same Patrick Mahomes. I don't think he just stands in the pocket, 3-step drop, turns, fires.
Good point.
I don't think he can do that. I feel like his feet always have to pity patter, and he's always got to jump around and try to make something happen.
That's a good point.
And it takes a disciplined defense to contain that. And Cincinnati did that. And it was just, I was watching it and I said, man, I think if there's ever a such thing as exposing Pat Mahomes, that was it.
That was it. It's a copycat league. You know, somebody that teams are going to take that film and use it next year.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, you don't have to blitz them. You don't have to rush them. Just send 3, keep a spy, make sure the 3 don't leave their lanes. Keep him right there to where he can't dance and do it, all that stuff, and then play the back end man-to-man.
Yeah. Shout out to Reg. He says, I think the Chiefs would be an unstoppable team if they were a run-first squad. I don't disagree.
I don't disagree either.
But also, it's time to get – see, Andy Reid, I felt like his offenses, when he was with Philly, he was working with like a skeleton sort of budget.
Mm-hmm.
So it was just like McNabb, Westbrook, and spare parts, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, and maybe a tight end, a Brent Selleck, LJ Smith. You know what I mean?
Before they got T.O.
Yeah, before T.O.
Yeah, so they had James Thrash and Pinkston and Freddie Mitchell.
Yeah, they didn't have much, right? So he was figuring out, but he was also a very poor game manager in those times.
Mm-hmm.
So that cost him a lot of big games and chances at rings, even though they were outgunned most of the time. But it seems like after all those years, he learned, he got better. Then he started having McCoy, Jackson, Macklin, Selleck. You know, he seemed to progress his philosophy.
Right.
Then when he got to KC, he had incorporated the running back. Then he started to put this team together that we see with Alex Smith.
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, wow, like he made the running game more dynamic.
Right.
But I think Pat Mahomes is the drug, and it kind of makes him feel powerful. Like, I don't need that anymore.
Yeah, I don't need this running game anymore because his arm I'm gonna ride his arm to the promised land.
Right. And then I also look at the type of running backs they have. They have like a bunch of scat backs.
Mm-hmm.
And when I've seen KC lose this year, it's because those running backs were getting crushed. They weren't able to inflict any sort of damage upon the defense. And I think one of the things is in the NFL, when you don't allow your linemen to get off on the defense and they're constantly back on their heels blocking for you, and then you're an erratic sort of, your movements are erratic the way Mahomes are.
Mm-hmm.
It becomes very hard to sustain drives because these guys are just, they're going to get tired.
Yeah, it's like I think in the future, like a lot of O linemen, a lot of the good O linemen,
Yeah,
free agency is not, they're not gonna want to go to Kansas City because, like you said, like all they doing is just being on their heels and pass blocking. O linemen, they want to dish out punishment too.
exactly.
So they want to be like, yo, run this ball so we could get them tired. I want to pancake somebody.
Right.
I can't really pancake nobody if I'm always pass blocking.
Yeah, Red says if the Cowboys get rid of Zeke, Andy Reid should be the first person calling. They definitely need a bell cow type of running back,
Mm-hmm.
and just to settle Mahomes down from time to time.
Yeah.
Like, hey, this drive we're gonna pound the rock. You know, we're gonna get some stuff going to the edges. Then we'll bring in who's the running back guy? His name is on the
Clyde
tip of my tongue.
Edwards.
Yeah, Edwards-Helaire. We'll bring him in as a change of pace, but it's time for them to change their philosophy.
And that's what I'm saying. Like they didn't make any adjustments because if you coming out and you see Cincinnati is got a 3-man front, dropping everybody back with a spy, run a draw.
Yeah.
I guarantee you, if you keep running draws on that 3-man front, they're gonna have to bring 4 now.
See, and what I was saying, though, what we were talking about before the show is Eli Apple. I said, look, I don't know if he's a good corner.
He's terrible.
But unlike Buffalo and the teams that KC has beat this year, they let him play. They said, look, you're going to have to cover because we're playing KC. We can't just sit you in soft zone. We're going to get picked apart. We're going to ask you to make plays. And it seems like every game, it's 2 bonehead plays. Well, and then it's like 1 good play. In this playoffs, it was the other way around. It was 1 bonehead play and 2 really good plays, especially in the fourth quarter and overtime. Eli Apple made a ton of difference in that game. And I know as a Giants fan, it has to hurt watching him succeed, but the Bengals put faith in him. They said, we don't care who you are. You have to play the called defense. If we're asking you to go man, if we're asking you to stay on Tyreek Hill, we need you to get in there and contest. And he did that. He fought. And I think that's the way you need to approach KC. I don't think there's any sort of magical coverage, like the magical zone, that's going to ever beat him, Kelsey and Tyreek Hill. You're going to have to get physical with them and challenge those receivers to make plays against your guys, which means you're going to have to challenge your D-backs. And I love the way Cincinnati did that. They challenged their D-backs and their linebackers, and they showed up, man.
They did.
Looking at Mahomes' legacy, people call it a dynasty, right? And I'm one of those people. I feel like the dynasty scale can move in football because there's not that many different champions, right? Like, and it's very hard for teams to return. Would you consider this era a dynasty, even though they lost in the AFC Championship?
Nah,
because they went deep in the playoffs. They won a Super Bowl, lost a Super Bowl. Now they lost in the AFC Championship.
Nah, dynasty is, and they lost in the AFC Championship before they won that Super Bowl too.
Yeah, that's what I said. They went deep in the playoffs.
Yeah, it's
won the Super Bowl, lost Super
like
Bowl.
a dynasty is like when you string a couple Super Bowls.
Yeah,
that's a dynasty. Cowboys was a dynasty.
Yeah,
Pittsburgh was a dynasty. New England was a dynasty. Like
right.
That's a San Francisco dynasty. Like no, they just happened to, you know what I mean, at that time playing a weak division. Since then, the AFC West has gotten better.
Yeah.
You know what I mean, this year they've gotten better. And then it wasn't really anybody that they had to go through besides New England.
Red said something super dope. The most dangerous situation KC can get anyone in is 3rd and 1 because Tyreek Hill is about to get double coverage. And yeah, nobody here disagrees. But what is Andy Reid calling in those situations is the question.
Right.
Because there were just several 3rd and manageables, 2nd and mediums. He just didn't have an answer. I was like, man, is he tanking? And then Andy Reid said something real curious, and you brought this up on the podcast a few episodes ago, right? What was I gonna say? Eric Bieniemy doesn't call the plays.
Right.
Andy Reid said in the post game, "I blame myself. I gave Eric Bieniemy the wrong play." How is someone expected to hire Eric Bieniemy, like you said, if Andy Reid is sitting out there making those statements? And we'll circle back to this later.
Mm-hmm. They can't, because people. That's the one thing that these owners and GMs and analysts are saying.
Yeah,
like Eric Bieniemy is not getting any head coaching jobs because he's not a play caller.
Yeah.
So, but everybody's calling. Oh, he needs to have a job. He needs to have a job. But then that's what they're saying. Like, oh, I can't hire him because he's not the one actually calling the plays.
Yeah, I feel like he must be like a passing game coordinator or something.
Quarterback coach.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah, because it was curious for Andy Reid to say that. And then now we're in the situation we're in where coaching hires are being questioned.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just looking, first of all, Andy, you're going to take the blame anyway. There's no need for you to step in front of that bullet if it's not true. So, but if you're just handing plays to your offensive coordinator, how much more success is this Kansas City Chiefs team going to have?
Right.
Is someone ever going to be able to get in there and evolve this offense beyond what it currently is? Because we both know Kelce takes a lot of punishment.
Mm-hmm.
These guys don't last a long time. You know, the shelf life of a tight end like Travis Kelce is maybe 5 or 6 years, and then it's nothing but decline, and the team has to get better for these guys to still be effective. We've seen Jimmy Graham come and go.
Mm-hmm.
We've seen a bunch of tight ends come and go over the years. Antonio Gates was a rarity. Tony Gonzalez was a rarity. Travis Kelce is neither of those.
Right.
Yeah, Gronk is a rarity. Yeah, Gronk is a rarity. Well, you know, other than that, like, I don't know how much longer KC can continue if this offense and the way they approach building a team doesn't evolve. I also think, I've always said it, at the second level, on defense, their linebackers aren't good.
No.
And their secondary is trash.
Yeah. They got Tyrann Mathieu is the only player in their secondary that's can do anything.
Exactly. And that's where I'm just looking. And honestly, I'm not so sure about Tyrann Mathieu's effectiveness, because you're starting to see him get hurt and nicked up a lot too, because he's an undersized corner. And what comes to mind here is Bob Sanders.
Right.
Like you know.
Yeah, because they really don't have Tyrann Mathieu in coverage. They really keep him in a box.
Right.
So, I mean, with him being small like that, like I said, with Bob Sanders, that's a good comparison. Like, even though he doesn't hit as hard as Bob Sanders,
no,
but they play the same game.
Yeah, and if you're gonna play him like that, he's gonna take a lot of punishment.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So they're gonna have to invest in some more traditional safeties, more traditional D-backs. I've never liked the way their defense is constructed. I thought they were going to retool that defense and be a little more aggressive about it this year, but they went and spent money on cycling in an entire new offensive line.
Mm-hmm.
And then you see that offensive line couldn't even really hold up. Mm-hmm. I love the delay pass rushing that Cincinnati was doing and the mush rushing. They were letting Mahomes say, go out there, run 12 yards in the backfield. But as soon as you stop to square up, somebody's coming right at you.
That was Hubbard, the spy.
Yeah.
He would just sit and wait. And then when he picked his right moment to go, he darted in there.
Yeah, and I thought the game was about to be lost when he fumbled.
That fumble.
That guard saved the day.
Yeah.
But it's ironic, though. 13 seconds is all it took for them to get to overtime with Buffalo. And then against the Bengals, they turned the ball over 13 seconds into overtime.
Mm-hmm.
That was a great play by the Bengals. Like, we're criticizing what KC did to lose the game. But Cincinnati made real plays. They made plays, and they made more plays than the other team. So, my hat's off to them. And I think it's great for the NFL for a market like Cincinnati to be there.
Yeah.
It's like if Cleveland wins one.
Yeah.
It's like these are franchises that in our lifetime have been notoriously sorry.
Yes.
Cincinnati hasn't been good since the 1980s, since Boomer Esiason.
88.
Was that the last one?
Yeah.
When they lost to the Giants?
No, 88. The Bengals lost to the 49ers.
Oh, they lost to the Niners, their last one. Okay. Because they lost one to the Giants, right?
No. We played the Giants. Our 4 was Denver, Buffalo, and then New England twice.
Got you. Okay. It was Denver, Buffalo. Because I remember the Bengals were always in that conversation in the 80s, right before the Bills took over the AFC. That was like Sam Weiss
Or
was the guy.
not 88. Might have been. It's 81. I think it was 81. I believe.
Well, no, Bengals lost about 2 or 3.
Yeah, they lost 2 to the 49ers.
Oh, okay. Yeah. One of them was the late 80s, though.
Mhm.
I know that. But I love seeing. I think it's great for the NFL that we get some new blood in here, and that a young quarterback and an underdog really came from the wild card weekend and made it all the way through. There's nothing you can say about the road that they had to take. It's like, yo, why can't this team win the Super Bowl?
Both teams went through wild card weekend.
Let's talk about the Niners and Rams. So I picked the Rams to win that game going away. How did you see that game playing out as opposed to how it actually played out?
I before the game, you know, I knew the Rams were gonna win.
Yeah.
I picked it by 3, ironically, but from when the game started, the way the Rams just like eventually Stafford threw that interception trying to force it to Cooper Kupp in the end zone. But before the interception, they were driving with ease. They was like, what pass rush that the 49ers got? They were driving with ease.
Yeah.
They just happened to get the pick. So it just looked like the Rams was able to do whatever they wanted, but they just wasn't getting the outcome that they was looking for in the first half. That's how the Niners went up 17-7. And then they flipped the switch. Like once they realized that what the 49ers do well, that they couldn't get no running game going and put the game in Jimmy G's hands, that's when it flipped.
Yeah, I think it's we talked about this, and I told you I don't trust Jimmy G. He almost blew it the week before, and right, just like clockwork, he throws the wildest pass in NFL playoff history. Josh Allen threw some BS that first year in Houston. No, I was like, yo, this is bizarro. Like, I've never seen anything like it. Was a circus pass. He's falling to the ground at first, and he just sidearm flicks it back behind him, and it almost completes. But once again, Kyle Shanahan and Jimmy G are a bad marriage. While I give Jimmy G the majority of the blame because it's him. As a player, he just can't seem to put it all together.
Yeah.
Kyle Shanahan doesn't set him up for success well at all.
Right.
Why are you depending on Jimmy G? Now, I felt like the 49ers were a year ahead of schedule this year. So this loss was probably 2 weeks later than I thought it would be.
Right.
Because it's just weird when you have to have Deebo Samuel playing the way he does for you to be effective. Your best wide receiver now has to become your best running back all at the same time. You're short on personnel. That's just bottom line. And then when you as a coach, you feel like Jimmy G has to push you down the field when you have a running game there, I don't think you're set up for success. I don't think that defense is all the way where it needs to be, back to the level it was during the Kaepernick era or even the last Super Bowl they went to. I think they're a year away.
What's keeping the 49ers defense, what's holding them back is their secondary is like terrible. Like they got a nice front seven, but it's just the corner and safety positions. They're like they need to like really address that in the offseason.
They had the worst drop interception I've ever seen in the playoffs.
Yeah,
I've seen some bad drops. You know, look, we've all had to watch some wild, wacky stuff, but that was, we got breaking news. Jim Harbaugh headed to Minnesota.
I figured that.
I think that's the best situation. Now we got to talk about that, but let's finish talking about this. But, oh, man, I know my mom is happy. My mom is a diehard Vikings fan. Oh, man. But I felt like the 49ers, this is the year they need to go in with the draft. They got to clear some cap space. And you got to find out what Trey Lance is.
Yeah, it's time.
Yeah. We need to see it. The few appearances he had, I'm like, oh, he looks like a kid. Like, the few times we got to see him this year and they brought him in for a couple of, substitution plays or whatever, pull Jimmy G out. Okay, whatever. I didn't get to see anything. He looked like a project quarterback as he was drafted. But it's time. Like, how close are you to starting? Because Jimmy G is not coming back under center.
Yeah, it's
for
time.
this team.
Yeah, it's time. It's time.
Yeah, I don't think the fan base is going to have it, and I don't think the coaching staff can survive another year of Jimmy Garoppolo.
No, even when you trade the pieces that you traded to move up to 3 to get him,
Yeah,
eventually the kid got to play.
yeah. I think Jimmy G is what he is.
Mhm.
Is there a situation out there where he can be, serviceable and mildly successful? Yes.
Yes.
But I don't think the Niners, as constituted, what they're asking from the quarterback position, he clearly cannot provide.
Mhm.
And if we know anything about San Fran, that they're going to be a run-first team. I think they also need to invest in running backs that stay healthy. They need bell cows.
Yeah.
Because I swear they injure like 7 running backs every year.
Yes.
And I think it's their style of play.
Yeah.
They're a highly physical team. So they're just always injured.
Mhm.
But I mean, I got to tip my hat to the Rams for turning it on. And I am the former vice president of the Odell Beckham Jr.
Yes.
Better Prove Himself Club.
Yes.
The club is now shut down.
Okay.
He showed up this playoffs. That's all I was saying. I can say it. Yo, Odell proved me wrong. He proved me wrong. I was just a doubter.
Mhm.
I didn't say he couldn't do it.
Mhm.
But you know what? On this team, he came through and made plays.
Mhm.
Jimmy Ward tried to kill him too.
Yeah.
Put the crown of his helmet in his chin.
Yep.
I was like, man.
Yep.
I was like, that was one of the dirtiest plays I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Yeah. He just like speared him. But that was a big catch by Odell.
Yo,
it was a huge conversion.
Well, I was watching the game and I was watching Odell. Odell had 11 targets and caught 9 passes.
Yeah.
113 yards. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, I wonder what Chris is saying watching this.
I was just like, man, this dude is balling. And this the 3rd game in a row. What can I say?
Yeah.
The dude is getting it done. And Cooper Kupp is everything.
Cooper Kupp is just Cooper Kupp.
Imagine how scary this team would have been if Robert Woods doesn't go down and they still acquire Odell.
Right.
Oh my gosh. It would be amazing.
Because but what's crazy? People don't realize it. The way the Niners use Debo is the way the Rams use Robert Woods.
Yeah.
Robert Woods goes in the backfield. He
does
lines.
all of that.
He does everything.
They had to do it a lot more with Jared Goff because the quarterback play was so
right.
So they had to kind of wave the hand, do a lot of tricks to get the offense going and show people a lot of different looks. Now it feel like with Matthew Stafford, they don't have to depend on that.
No.
Because you can hit every area of the field from the pocket.
Yep.
You don't need to, hand wave and do all these other things to get your passing game going. And I think that's another thing too. As much as Cincinnati and Joe Burrow are a great story, Joe Burrow being a young kid, the upstart, and Cincinnati getting back to the Super Bowl after all these years, being the market they are, watching Matt Stafford finally get an opportunity to win a championship is great. Because I've always told people, this guy played in Minnesota. He didn't get to play. I mean, Detroit. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm still looking at the screen with Minnesota. He played in Detroit.
Yep.
I don't know. He's the only successful quarterback in my lifetime in Detroit. I'm not going to put Rodney Peete up there. I'm not going to put Scott Mitchell. I'm not going to put Mike McMahon. I'm not going Dan Orlovsky. I'm not going name another Detroit quarterback. Charlie Batch.
Shaun Hill.
Yeah, Shaun Hill. None of those guys were ever successful. He's the most successful quarterback in my lifetime in the Detroit Lions history. And I always knew he had the talent. It was just him and Megatron at first. Just doing everything they could to compete every single Sunday. And now he's on a team with the actual talent. He's showing improvement.
Yeah.
I think the lack of playoff experience did show because you saw at times you're like, whoa, that was a dangerous throw.
Yeah.
The drop interception was like, I've been defending you. Don't do this.
That was a punt.
Yeah. Yeah, that dude should have caught that, man. Like, that's a terminable offense. I don't know how important he is to the 49ers or what they see in him, but that's a tough drop, man.
That's a tough drop.
That's a tough drop because he could have, if he catches that and gathers himself, what does it look like? He could have. That could go to the house.
Or at least a 20-25 yard return.
Yeah, you can spot Jimmy G.
Yeah, that's going to set you up.
With a short field.
Yeah.
You can spot Jimmy G with a short field and some momentum. So I just look at, Matthew Stafford getting his opportunity. I think for the casual football fan who may not appreciate Matthew Stafford's talent level of quarterback, this is going to be a great Super Bowl for them to see that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm just it's now speaking of the Super Bowl, off top, who do you got?
I got the Rams.
Yeah, I still got to go with the Rams. They
Yeah.
were my Super Bowl pick. Bills didn't make it, and the
Mhm.
Rams are there, and I still think the Rams are the best team
Yeah,
left.
I think the Rams is gonna pose the same kind of problems that Tennessee caused
Yeah.
for Cincinnati, but with a better offense.
True.
They got the defense just like and could get to the quarterback just like Tennessee was able to get to him 9 times. If the Rams sack Joe Burrow 9 times, he's not gonna survive.
Not at all.
No, he's not
at
gonna
all.
survive.
Aaron Donald is going to throw a party. But one thing I will say is I expect Cincinnati to have blitz beaters in place. I expect their running backs to play a huge role in beating the blitz coming out of the backfield. Because Joe Mixon, I mean, he's another guy. You know, he started off with some bad PR coming out of college early on in his career. People looked at him like he was a really bad guy. Now you're looking at him playing in the Super Bowl
Right.
and really getting his chance to shine.
Yeah.
And he's been problem-free.
Right.
As a professional.
Yeah.
So I'm happy to see Joe Mixon get his redemption story.
Right.
I'm wondering though, because the Rams linebacking core, just like Kansas City, is suspect. I'm wondering if Cincinnati's tight end is healthy, Tyler Boyd, Higgins, Jamar Chase, can they really feast on the middle of the field the same way they did against Kansas City?
I think Cincinnati needs to do a good job. Take these 2 weeks to do a good job of trying to find the best way to get Jamar Chase free from Jalen Ramsey.
Yeah, because Jalen Ramsey, to me, you know, this is his highest pressure moment of his career right now. And you're guarding the hottest receiver in football.
Right.
Jamar Chase is unguardable, if you ask me.
Right.
I'm like, man, I don't think he's the best receiver. I'm still Stephon Diggs.
Right.
But I'm sorry. If you want to argue that Jamar Chase is better, I'm not arguing against you.
Right.
This guy had almost 300 receiving yards a month ago. So I'm just like, hey, man.
Yeah,
like,
as long as Chase lines up on the outside, I believe Ramsey's going to travel.
Yeah.
I think they're going to have to use a lot of bunch sets. And so to muck it up to where Ramsey can't really get his hands on him,
yeah,
and then he can get some free releases. But I just think they'll be setting that stuff up for failure if they just want to consistently put Jamar Chase on the outside with Ramsey.
Yeah, and they're going to have to – it's going to be really important because I think in this game especially, they're going to have to keep a running back in the backfield. I just think that's going to be Cincinnati's strength. Yeah. If they can hit those screens and those swing passes and those outlets, you know, have a Mixon chipping a guy on the way out or the other running back, I think they'll succeed. And, you know, if they can do that successfully, that'll start putting pressure on the Rams to come up and dedicate someone to that running back.
Yeah, I think, but I do think, see, what people don't realize is the Rams front four can play the run.
They can. Yeah.
They shut the Niners run down.
Yeah.
Von Miller, even though he's like, we know him to get like a lot of sacks, he plays the run very well.
Von Miller, yeah,
and so
great tackler,
along with Aaron Donald. So guys like that, they play the run on their way to the quarterback.
Right.
So if they could have that same game plan, I know it's going to be different. You got 2 weeks and it's different opponents, but if you got that same game plan with the run, and you make Cincinnati's O-line pass block a lot, you're gonna get the Burrow. You're gonna get to him.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. So it's gonna be a good Super Bowl. Next week we'll be back here to talk about the Super Bowl. You know, this week we got the week off from the NFL. Really, nothing really going on.
Yeah.
Let's talk about this hardball to Minnesota. Is this what you expected?
I didn't expect him to go to Minnesota. I thought he would go to either Miami or to Vegas.
Okay.
But Minnesota's
Vegas chose Josh McDaniels.
Josh McDaniels. I get it going to Minnesota. Like, you already have a set team.
Right.
You have a set team, and you don't know the Aaron Rodgers situation. If Aaron Rodgers leave, that division is yours.
Oh yeah, hands down.
You know,
you're running away with it.
So you're going to be there. I get not going to Miami because you really don't have a good roster there.
No, not at all. Yeah.
And then you got to deal with Buffalo twice.
You got to deal with and New England for
In
that
New
matter.
England.
Yeah.
And I get why you don't go to Vegas because Kansas City and the Chargers are, you know what I mean?
Well, here's what I'll say about Miami, right? When I thought that was a possibility because they had like 60-something million dollars in cap space. But I thought it came down to Tua. If he believed that there was something he could do with Tua, I think he would have been in Miami.
I think he can do something to it. Like,
We think he can, but
Yeah.
does he think he can?
does Harbaugh think he can?
Yeah, or did he look at that hill and say that's a little too much?
Maybe, but like we didn't know who Andrew Luck was at all until Harbaugh was coaching him at Stanford.
Yeah.
And then look what he did with, Kaepernick.
Yeah.
Like, so he can.
That was one of the genius coaching jobs of all time.
right.
Because who sits Alex Smith, who was red hot, to go Colin Kaepernick? You know what I mean? That takes a lot of guts, a lot of cojones.
So, you know what I mean? I think he could have went down to Miami and got his hands on Tua and
Yeah.
you know what I mean, really groomed him. But I think he just looked at the offense, like besides Jalen Waddle, like who do I have on this offense?
Yeah, and Jalen Waddle's been an inconsistent player since
Right.
coming into the league. So there's a lot of inconsistency with Miami. And then also, I don't think I think that front office is a dumpster fire. And we're gonna have to talk about them
Yeah.
in a little bit
And
when we discuss Brian Flores.
And I like in another reason why I kind of like pieced him going to Miami because the owner is a Michigan man.
Yeah,
So I kind of was like, that's something that will happen. But I mean, Minnesota's a good fit.
yeah. And shout out to Red. She says, low key, the best part about Minnesota is that if you don't like Kirk Cousins, he only has 1 year left on
Yeah,
his deal.
yeah, he's a lame duck right now.
Yeah, and he can go now.
Yeah,
If you can find your replacement.
yeah,
But I think with Harbaugh being in college, I'm pretty sure he recruited Dalvin Cook. I'm pretty sure he's aware of Justin Jefferson and what he's able to do.
mhm.
He knows a lot of these young players on Minnesota that are contributors.
Yeah,
I don't think there's any mystery. He knows what he has there. If you ask me, Dalvin Cook is the best running back in the NFL when he's healthy. I don't know if there's a running back better than him.
that's a good point.
Yeah, I think Dalvin Cook is the most dynamic and most versatile running back in the NFL when he's healthy. And if he had better quarterback play, say a dual threat quarterback,
Mm-hmm.
it'd be unstoppable.
Yeah, you know, a lot of people going to give some pushback and say, "Oh, Derrick Henry." But
No.
Derrick Henry is just, I'm gonna give you the ball and then I'm just gonna run straight. Dalvin
Right.
Cook can catch it. He
Right.
can you can split him out wide. You can do everything.
And Derrick Henry, he's a lot like, I'll say this, and a lot of people disagree with me. He's a lot like Terrell Davis, right?
Mhm.
The scheme is tailored to what he's able to do,
Right.
not to what he can do best or anything like that, or like, oh, we run this. No, this Derrick Henry cannot run like that in every scheme.
Right.
Because other schemes require you to get to the edges. They require you to catch out the backfield. They require a different type of running.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? He's just one cut straight up the field.
Mm-hmm.
Simple as that. If he's even taking one cut.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? So that's my thing. With Dalvin Cook, he can do just about anything. He can run in any scheme.
Yeah.
And he immediately raises the level of the offense.
Mm-hmm.
So I think Harbaugh is going to have a lot of fun coaching. there.
Yeah.
And they've always had like a nice rotation of running backs. In
Yeah.
Minnesota.
Yeah.
You know, so there's a lot of weapons there, man. He just has to figure that quarterback position out, and I think he'll be fine.
Yeah. He'll be fine.
Let's talk about Brian Flores. This is the big news of the day. First day of Black History Month. Support Black artists, support Black everything, Black podcasts, all of that. Brian Flores today announced that he's filing a class action lawsuit against the Dolphins, the Giants, and the third team, as
Broncos.
well the Broncos, for racial discrimination in their hiring practices and against the NFL as a league. I want to get your thoughts when you first heard this news today.
It was kind of a head scratcher because it came out of left field.
Out of left field, no one knew on the
No.
first day of Black History Month.
Right. But it's been like this for the very long time. Like they made a rule for teams to at least interview.
Please interview one Black person.
Right.
We're
We'll give
gonna.
they were even given, like, if you interview this person, we will give you a draft pick.
Right, a compensatory pick just for interviewing
Like
a Black person.
And it's a shame with like African Americans, like we make up what 75%, 80% of the league.
Yeah.
There's one Black head coach. I don't even think there's a Black owner.
No, there's not.
How many black GMs we got? I know we just hired what 2
Yeah. There's one in the Bears.
in Minnesota,
Yeah, in Minnesota. Yep.
and then I think that's it.
Right.
So it's like it's been around for forever. You got, I guess, it's like the good old boys club.
Yep.
Like the owners want to hire people that look like them. Oh, we'll bring you in. We're not gonna hire you. Like we just have to interview you.
Right.
But they'll hire you to be a coordinator.
Yeah. Or if they do hire you, it's a situation where they're gonna fire you.
Yeah.
They're hiring in order to fire you.
You're gonna 9 times out of 10 a black head coach, and then this goes for every sport.
Yes.
Black managers in baseball, basketball, football, even college sports. 9 times out of 10, the black head coach gets the shitty job. Excuse my language, but they get the bad jobs to where, all right, we're gonna hire you, and then after you bomb this one season, we're gonna get rid of you. At least we hired you.
Yeah.
So I think that's what it is, and that's until we get some kind of a change in how everything is going on, it's gonna be that way.
When I first heard it, the first thing I thought is, well, he's gonna have to die on this hill.
Yeah,
career over.
Mm-hmm.
Good for him, but
another Colin Kaepernick.
Yep, I started thinking about the new USFL that's playing this spring. I started thinking about The Rock, and I think he's one of the people that saved XFL.
Yeah.
I was like, well, XFL's out there. Jeff Fisher just went to the USFL. A couple guys signed up for the XFL.
College.
College. I was like, wow, this guy, I guess he's ready to go that route, because we know vengeance will be on the 32 owners.
Mm-hmm.
Even though he's only suing 3 teams that he was involved in the interview process.
It's a good old boys club. It's gonna travel.
Right. Vengeance will be theirs. But let's unpack it, right? So he's suing the Dolphins. We know, in your opinion, how like where do you think that stands? The racial discrimination argument against the Dolphins? Because they did fire him this year
after I think it was a successful season.
Yeah. Well, they salvaged their season.
Yeah.
They made it respectable, even though they missed the playoffs again.
Right. They had a chance to make the playoffs.
Yeah.
I mean, they lost. I mean, some games down the stretch that prevented them from getting in there. With the Dolphins, like, one, I don't think he should have been fired from that job.
Yeah.
2, there was a report that the owner was like really trying to pay him $100,000 to lose games.
Wow, really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. I didn't know about this report. Did this come out today?
Yeah. They were trying to get him they were trying to pay him to lose games. And I was watching NFL Live, and Swagoo was saying it, and they were like, they had this talk amongst each other while they were watching a Monday night game. I think it was Miami and Pittsburgh. And they were like, to me, like he said he asked Dan Orlovsky, like, is it me or are the Dolphins trying to lose this game?
We've seen teams do this.
Right.
I've seen teams like mysteriously sit guys late in the fourth quarter. And, we know teams do this, right? I'm a Sixers fan. We lose on purpose sometimes.
Trust the process.
Yeah,
baby.
we trust the process. I mean, I don't know why that would shock anybody.
Right.
I mean, to pay you a bonus to lose.
I
don't know if that's something that the NFL
we need to dig, like, we need to really like dig deep and see if that was, accurate.
Yeah. Like, I mean, getting paid to lose and getting paid to lose are two different things.
Right.
Like, if you sign a contract and they know you suck and you have no chance, and they know you're gonna lose, you're gonna take these L's but develop talent and play for draft picks. Cool. I understand that everybody does it at some point. You have to. Sometimes you have to put the brakes so you can get the players you need. I'm a firm believer that Buffalo made the playoffs by accident with Tyrod Taylor, and then they cut Tyrod. They stripped the roster down. They had to dial it back because they were a year ahead of schedule.
Mm-hmm.
And then that's why they started Josh right away. They said, well, look, we don't want to compete this season anyway. Start Josh.
Go out there.
Start him. Because they tried the Peterman thing, and they were like, all right, just start Josh. And
wasn't that the guy that threw like 5 interceptions?
5 at one game, yes. During the Tyrod year. Then he came back the next year and started throwing more picks. And it was like, yo, you have to go. But, I mean, looking at the Dolphins, I don't know how strong his case is, because he wouldn't be the only coach to get clipped.
Right.
I think his best case for racism with that is David Culley in Houston,
Mm-hmm.
and then in the past with Jim Caldwell.
And the guy Weems from Arizona.
Yeah, man.
So
So I think they're gonna have to bring in other cases where black coaches, because if you ask me, given their situation, the Houston Texans with David Culley had a successful season.
yeah,
I thought that was the worst roster in the NFL,
Yeah.
and they knocked off some giants this year,
yeah.
like some big boys.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, well, you have no resolution on Deshaun Watson, who's basically a subordinate Ben Simmons. He's not coming back.
Mm-hmm.
You have somebody in place that the players are playing for.
Mm-hmm.
Why are you firing this guy?
Right.
I thought that was more egregious than Brian Flores. I thought Miami's just a dumpster fire.
Yeah.
Like, look, this is what they do. They're bad. They're terrible. They've been bad ever since Jeff Ireland was asking crazy questions
Mm-hmm.
to draft prospects.
Mm-hmm.
They've always been out of line.
We just got good weather.
Yeah, exactly. They just got great weather, but poor leadership.
Mm-hmm.
So, shout out to Reg. He says Eagles pulled Jalen Hurts his rookie year in the last game, and the backup came in and threw two obvious on-purpose picks.
Come on, man.
Yeah.
Don't bring that up.
Yeah. It made us move from 10 to 6 in the draft. First of all, Jalen Hurts could have thrown them picks on his own.
Yeah, because that
I
cost.
don't know.
Because that cost me a playoff spot.
It did. But that's what I say. He's going to have to take a look at that, right? So his lawsuit does have legs, but as far as the Dolphins part, there was more that went on. They said it was an argument between him and Tua, and he got canned.
Yeah, it was an argument between him and Tua, and there was an argument between him and the general manager where they were like at odds, where the GM wanted Tua and Flores didn't want Tua.
Yeah.
So it basically came like, all right, one of y'all got to go.
And see that right there, like if that's a thing, right? If that's what the Miami's coming with, that's business. That's football business.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean Flores is a bad coach. It means it didn't work out.
Right.
You can't really be concerned how it looks. If you're going to stand on the hill that I don't want this quarterback here, it's me or him, and they choose him, then okay, you got to go.
Because Flores had a leg to stand on with that one, because as we saw in crunch time, he was pulling to it for
Fitzpatrick. The year before. Yeah.
So he already saw it then, like, I can't win with this guy.
I want to know whose decision it was to let Fitzpatrick walk out of Miami. Was it the coach or was it the front office? Did the front office remove Fitzpatrick to strip Flores of his ability?
It has to be the front office because they were at odds about Tua.
Yeah.
So if Flores was already saying that, oh, Tua's not my guy, then in the GM was like, Tua's the guy. So they in the GM he makes the calls like, all right, I'm gonna get him out of here so my guy can stay.
Right.
So coming back into the season, like this past season, I think Flores was handcuffed. So he's like, there's no other quarterback on this roster, so I gotta play Tua. That's why I think he was trying to get them to trade for Deshaun Watson, and it was like, no, it's not happening.
Yeah, man. So let's look at the Broncos. So with that situation, they just made a hire.
Nathaniel Hackett.
Nate Hackett. Here's what I'm gonna say about Nate Hackett, right? He was in Green Bay with Aaron Rodgers. I don't know how you get bumped to the front of the list just for being with Aaron Rodgers. If you're Nate Hackett, it's not like, somebody who's already highly successful as an O coordinator went to Aaron Rodgers and they did some next level stuff. And then you're like, all right, this guy's ready. Because look what he did with Aaron Rodgers. Nate Hackett was the offensive coordinator in Buffalo. And I thought he was terrible. He was a hack.
Why? Quick point. Why did we say Eric Bieniemy is not getting any head coaching jobs?
Because he really doesn't call the plays.
What was Nate Hackett's title in Green Bay?
I'm not sure. I thought it was offensive coordinator.
He was the offensive coordinator.
Yeah.
He didn't call no plays.
Well, this is news. Thanks for because I don't know how much he brought to the Aaron Rodgers situation.
No,
that offense is what it was, and
right.
It's always been that way. You're just a new guy came in, and we're running it. The current staff tweaked it from when Mike McCarthy was there, and it made it more under control. Mm-hmm. Aaron Rodgers wasn't able to freelance as much, but they were still remain potent. I don't know what Nate Hackett ever did.
No, he just had the title of OC. The
Yeah.
head coach called the plays.
That's another thing. So I think Flores has a case there because you were able to give Miami their best 2-win stretch in the last 20 years, right? Or 2-season stretch.
Mm-hmm.
You know, as far as winning games in the last 20 years.
And
they choose Nate Hackett.
And speaking on Brian Flores, you beat Bill Belichick 4 times.
Yes. Your team isn't wildly successful, but those players get up and they play for you. You know, you haven't fared well against the Buffalo Bills.
No, and Flores has to be the best Belichick pupil.
Yeah.
Head coach that was out there, but no, second behind Vrabel.
Right.
Him and Vrabel are the only, they did better than Charlie Wise, Romeo Cornell, Matt Patricia, Josh McDaniels. Like, they were better than all of them.
Yeah.
So,
well, see, I'm one of those people that look at. Shout out to D. Reeves. He said he didn't bring anything. Rodgers was the OC. That's how I feel.
Yeah.
But I feel like Josh McDaniels' time in Denver. I mean, look, he found the system for Tim Tebow to be successful, and they made a deep run. I think you get credit for that, given the situation.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? Like, I just thought Denver they didn't know which direction they really wanted to move in. And then you had Peyton Manning out there waiting. You see what I'm saying? Like, that opportunity presented itself, and then they just loaded up and went in a different direction. And then he went right back over to Belichick.
Yeah, he went back to Daddy.
Even though, he reneged on that Colts job to go back to New England for another year. Oh, report says Stephen Ross wanted to tank.
Yeah, that's the owner.
And hey man, your owner wants to lose on purpose to get draft picks.
Trust the process.
Probably save money. Yeah, you don't want to lose, and you win games against their wishes. There's a whole movie about this called Major League. You know what I'm saying? Unless you win the Super Bowl, I don't think you're surviving that. You got to win the championship, man.
Go get Roger Dorn.
Exactly. Hey, Dorn, you're up. You know what I mean? And then we're looking at the suit against the Giants. So this is where everybody's talking. So explain the situation and how this transpired and what Brian Flores' case is.
So, yes, we're gonna jump out the window.
Yeah.
The Giants are racist.
Okay.
I've been a lifelong Giants fan. They're racist.
Lawrence Taylor don't even watch them. He said he watches old Star Trek episodes when the Giants come on.
In the Giants' history, they have never drafted a black quarterback.
Yeah.
Never. Up until Geno Smith broke Eli's streak, that was the first time a black quarterback has ever played for the New York Giants.
Yeah.
So the notion where people say, oh, we should have drafted Dwayne Haskins over Daniel Jones, I was always saying it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
We don't draft black quarterbacks. Oh, the Giants should go trade for Deshaun Watson, Russell Wilson. It's not going to happen. Now, talking about Watson and Russell Wilson, I wish it did happen, but it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
Now with this Flores situation, do I believe he was a finalist for the job? No. Do I think? Did I want him? Yes. He was better qualified than the past coaches that we had, but after Coughlin.
Gotcha.
Brian Daboll might be a good hire. I'm a Giants fan. I got to give him a chance.
Right.
You know what I mean? He's the new head coach. But with Flores, I just think he was a product of the Rooney Rule. We got to give you an interview. You know what I mean? We got to fulfill this. We're gonna bring you in for an interview. Cool. We interviewed Leslie Frazier. Do I think Leslie Frazier was gonna get the job? No. Mm-hmm. Even with us hiring your assistant GM to
Joe Shane. Yeah.
He I think the higher ups was like, look, we know you have a relationship with Leslie Frazier in Buffalo. It's not gonna happen.
All right.
So just interview him, let him see the facility. All right, get him on out of here. So
let him see the facility. Show him the break room.
Yeah, and get him out of here. And I just think like it was a no-win situation for Flores being the Giants head coach.
Yeah,
none. Don't think it was happening.
But how Flores realized that something was up was Belichick texted him, "Congratulations on the job,"
on the Giants job.
but says, "Oh, I'm sorry. I thought they meant Brian Daboll." 3 days before his interview.
Right.
Oh wait, they meant Brian Daboll. I meant to text Brian Daboll. My
right.
bad.
Right.
Let's talk about that. Because it sounds crazy. And I ran through this scenario when my man's called me. Shout out to my man. Belichick had to sign off to allow those texts to come out.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think Flores, with Belichick being a mentor and an ally of his in this current situation, I don't think he would have put that out without, Belichick knowing that he was going to do it and giving the okay.
I think Belichick's not stupid.
Yeah, okay.
I think he knew what he was doing.
Yeah. And I think he wants his man to get done right.
Right. Now,
Brian Flores is his guy.
Yes.
Yeah, and I don't think he likes seeing that.
We were talking about this before the show. Being in that field, head coach, being in
Red said he heard the Giants want to trade Saquon for Christian McCaffrey too. LOL.
We're just trading junk for junk.
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
When you're in that field, when you're a head coach and you got to deal with owners and players and other coaches, when I'm getting phone numbers, I'm going to put your first and last name.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to run into a bunch of Bryans. I'm going to run into a bunch of Kyles, Mikes.
Well, we don't know how often they talk, right? They could be like real friends, and I have your full name in my phone because I know more than one Dave, but yeah.
Right. So, but now in this situation, you have Brian Flores, who was one of your coaches.
Yeah.
So with him being in New England for that long of a time, you're going to have Brian Flores.
Right.
Because you had Brian Cox play for you. So you're not gonna just put Brian, knowing you know more than one Brian.
Yeah.
So now when it comes to Flores and Brian Daboll, I'm pretty sure you probably spoke to Daboll or whatever. So you're gonna have Brian Daboll in your phone, Brian Flores in your phone. So you're not gonna hear some news about Brian Daboll and text Flores. Come on, Bill. You're smarter than that.
All right, so I watched Law and Order for a lot of years, from being a kid all the way up until now. We got to talk motive. What do you think Bill Belichick's motive could have been if he indeed did do that purposely?
I don't know. I really don't know. I just think he's smarter than that.
Yeah.
Like I just think he's smarter than that, and he knew what he was doing.
Okay.
That's like I don't know what his motive was, what he was going to gain from that. I just think he's not a dumb guy.
I honestly think Daboll. I keep saying Daboll. Belichick is jumping out there for his friend. Mm-hmm. He's willing to step in and say, "All right." I don't know if Belichick really cares about all the black coaches,
right?
But he cares about his friend who happens to be a black coach,
mm-hmm.
and he's not liking how we got done in Miami. Miami being a rival, place he probably doesn't like,
mm-hmm.
And then Daboll. I'm not so sure that Daboll's one of his guys that he really reaches back to.
Right.
Daboll only coached under him for 1 year and was let go.
Mm-hmm.
And then he went to Miami. They let him go. And then he found his way up into Buffalo, and it ended up being a challenge for Belichick. Mm-hmm. So I'm wondering if there's maybe a little salt being thrown at Daboll and the Giants.
Right.
Also, the Giants beat him twice too. So it wouldn't behoove me to think that, I wouldn't be against thinking that he would toss a grenade or two over in that direction. You know what I mean? Like, you know what? I'm going to help my man out, and I'm going to get guys I really don't rock with as heavy. That's what I'm thinking the motive could be. But I do think it's motivated genuinely by – I think he would be disgusted looking at how Brian Flores is being treated right now.
Right. Look, like I said, like this report just came out today, and it's like more layers of this is going to get peeled back,
right?
And more stuff, more information is gonna come out, and I mean, we're gonna be here to dive into it.
Yeah, I think the burden of proof is gonna be is pretty high here. Like, he's really gonna have to come with a compelling case, because it's like we all know it, but you're suing these 3 teams specifically.
Yeah.
So now we need to know what the Giants interview process was. Even though we've been following it, we don't know what the day-to-day is and what was communicated to who
right.
at what time. Because I then saw another report from NFL Insider on Twitter that was saying, a blue check guy saying, well, originally Flores was the leading candidate. That was the talk. And he was supposed to take Daboll in as the OC. But I guess at some point, are they allowed to change their minds? Everyone's free to change their minds, right? Like, if that's the case. So I don't know. You know what I mean? But I also heard Ken Dorsey was supposed to be in there somewhere too. And he just accepted the offensive coordinator role. He accepted the promotion in Buffalo to stay. So I'm not quite sure.
But my thing with
how do you prove it?
Yeah, my thing is, like, if you're gonna hire Flores and you're basically telling him, like, you have to hire Daboll as your OC.
Right.
If I'm Daboll, I'm like, if I'm not getting a head coaching job and you're gonna make me the OC of the Giants, why don't I just stay as the OC of where I just came from?
Yeah.
Like, I already got a relationship with this quarterback. I done groomed him to where he at now. We went toe to toe with Kansas City. Like, we have a team that can get to. We have a Super Bowl caliber team. So why would I leave? Why would I leave this OC job with this team and go to the Giants, who are not a quality team right now, and be the OC there? Like, it doesn't make sense.
This is, it's we're gonna have to find motive, and like you said, it's all gonna have to come out in the rinse of this situation. I'm just wondering, like, we know the NFL has a race problem. I speak on this all the time. It's garbage. There's a lot of coaches and quarterbacks that really don't deserve the free reign and the long leashes that they have, because black quarterbacks and black coaches don't get these opportunities the way they do. And even in the NBA is just as bad.
Right.
So this is going to be one where the sad thing is we know he's not going to work in the NFL ever again.
No.
Or the chances of him working in the NFL ever again are minimal. 10% chance that he gets another job in the NFL.
Done.
You know, or if they do give him a job, it'll be another coordinator job, and he'll get fired from that in a bad situation. Then they'll be like, oh, like Kaepernick. Oh, well, he just wasn't good enough.
Right.
We know Kaepernick was good enough to play. Blaine Gabbert still has a job in the NFL.
Mike Glennon.
Blake Bortles is hanging around somewhere as someone's backup. I've seen this. I seeked it. Blaine Gabbert is still in the league. We know the NFL is racist, but it's this thing in America that we're addicted to, so we don't want to give it up because we enjoy it so much. Byron Leftwich actually calls the plays for Tom Brady and the Bucks.
Yes.
Did it for an entire Super Bowl run and a deep playoff run this year.
Yes.
Bruce Arians says, I don't even deal with the offense. That's not even what I do. I'm a defensive coach. Byron Leftwich runs that whole thing. He says, I don't even go through the meeting. I go do my own thing. I take the time off. That's Byron Leftwich with Tom Brady putting that offense together and making it go. We don't even know Byron Leftwich is going to get a job because they're dragging their feet on him.
Yes.
But teams are out there hiring Nate Hackett. So we know there's a problem. Now,
Josh McCown just got a second interview with Houston Texans.
This is what I'm saying. This is what we've been saying for years. And then you're looking at it like this, right? Now, the Bears did hire a black GM, right? Kudos to you. But then you went and hired a white head coach in Matt Eberflus, right? I don't know what Matt Eberflus' credentials are, but I know Leslie Frazier's out there. You know, I know Byron Leftwich is out there, and you have a young quarterback. What is Matt Eberflus really going to do for Justin Fields? Because right now, that's the biggest question mark you have on your roster. What are we going to do with this quarterback?
And he hired a defensive coordinator.
This is what I'm saying. I don't understand. Bad teams do bad things. So I don't know, like, some of these situations, we know there's racism as a component, but a lot of this stuff, too, is probably just bad organizations. The Dolphins aren't a good organization. You know, the Giants haven't been a good organization. You know, and then we're looking at the Broncos. They've been up and down. They haven't really been able to figure their situation out in quite some time. It's been pretty ridiculous. So, like I said, we got Byron Leftwich out here.
Mm-hmm.
A couple other black coaching candidates. We'll see what happens, and we'll come back and talk about this next week. But I think I told you last week, it's kind of wild that they're dragging their feet. Usually the coaches are hired up by now. They've been out there for 3 or 4 weeks.
Yep.
I'm surprised that more sign-offs haven't happened because you got to get your scouting started.
Yes.
You got to start putting together your draft board. You got to hire your staff, hire your scouts. You got to get your budgets together, figure out what's going on, get your training staffs. There's a lot that head coaches and GMs have to do. And I feel like this is the longest this process has ever taken for a lot of teams.
Yeah, because you got to look at it like it's April. I mean, it's February now.
Yeah.
Super Bowl is in 2 weeks. The draft is in April.
The draft is 60 days away.
So
yeah.
You like you said, you gotta get your scouts together.
They gotta go around the country, go see private workouts, pro days, all kinds of stuff. Yeah. And then you got to negotiate contracts who you're gonna bring back because the first round of free agency is in March.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the thing. You gotta get rid of these guys by March. And a lot of the contracts in NFL by March 1st, teams, gotta hold on to guys or cut them.
Yep.
A lot of people's bonuses kicking around that time.
Yeah.
So the roster
bonuses.
Yeah.
And workout bonuses.
And you
all
still
of that.
got like mini camps and things like that.
Yeah.
I've never seen such a delay in hiring coaches and so many black candidates for so many jobs, not, just get a good look. So this is it's pretty crazy, man. So we talked about that hiring. Let's talk about Josh McDaniels with the Raiders real quick.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? While we're talking coaches. How do you see him fare with Derek Carr, who's got he's got a new contract? He's got to come up too. Do you see him staying that course?
I think, yeah, unless you could get like Aaron Rodgers or something to come there.
Yeah,
I think you stick with Derek Carr. You use that money that you got free to see to kick the tires on to see what's going on with Devontae Adams,
right?
Because him and Derek Carr was in college together. I think with Josh McDaniels, this Raider job, he'll have a better team than when he was in Denver. He'll have a better quarterback in Denver. He'll have a better running back. Everything is better with Vegas.
Right.
So I think he'll succeed more. It's bad that he's in that division.
Right.
With all them young guns. But he'll have a better succession rate than with the Raiders than he did with his when he was in Denver. A year, 2 years?
I think 2 years.
2 years?
Yeah.
Yeah, he'll have a better run with Vegas than that first year.
And let's talk about Tom Brady retiring. The GOAT retired. He officially announced it. The news had been out there for a few days, and he kept saying, "Look, I'm going through the process. I didn't decide anything."
Right.
Why now?
I think I don't know. I don't want to say it was time.
Yeah,
because
he definitely had another year at least.
Yeah, because of the season that he just had.
Yeah, he led the NFL in touchdowns and yards this year.
Right. So it's like you didn't get beat up. You didn't have a terrible game like Big Ben had.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like we had to drag you off the field and was like, look, like thanks but no thanks.
Yeah.
You still was a Super Bowl winning caliber quarterback. We had some injuries that prevented us from beating the Rams.
Right.
I think if we're fully staffed, I think we beat the Rams.
I think they beat the Rams too. Yeah.
And then we beat the 49ers.
And really, you're one psychopathic wide receiver away from beating the Rams. Antonio Brown really tanked the season, but
or let's say Antonio Brown do what he do. If your offensive line is healthy, I think you beat the Rams.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we had a good 22-year run with Tom. I mean, he's the GOAT. You know what I mean? It was a blessing for us football fans to see such greatness.
Some football fans, Buffalo fans, it was not a blessing. It was a curse. It was a plague. It was a plague on the AFC East, a plague of locusts. And in the Old Testament, the Bible, plagues used to last for like 20 years. Like that was a 20-year plague on the Buffalo Bills.
Well, I don't have a problem with Tom Brady.
Yeah, the Giants don't have a problem. So it was a pleasure doing business with him.
Right.
For you guys.
Right.
For us, listen, You know, he's the GOAT. I give it to him. But come on, man. But Red says Tampa Bay is about to lose a lot of players. They are over the cap.
Yep.
But I don't think the situation wasn't salvageable. A lot of teams are over the cap
Yeah.
this year. So they're not the only team, and those situations work themselves out.
Yeah, they can move money around.
Yeah, I don't think that was more of the problem. But I do look at over the years, his wife has made comments about him having concussions, coming home with him, and like not really telling anybody about it.
Right.
And he was like, "Yo, you gotta chill out. Like, don't be telling the NFL that I've been getting rocked and all that." And you know, he's playing on a torn MCL last year. And I just think at 44, he's got his son getting older now, playing high school football or going into that.
Yeah.
And, you know, I see him trying to get his son ready to play pro football.
Yeah. I think he was just like, he got 3 kids and he's like missing a lot.
Yeah.
So
yeah, they're growing up without him.
Yeah. So he just, I mean, it was like I said, he had a outside of Buffalo, everybody always gonna applaud. You know what I mean? Well, Buffalo gonna applaud because he's not in the league anymore.
Right.
So even though he gave you a little parting gift the last time he played y'all this year, just reminded y'all like this is what it is.
Well, yeah, man. You know, that Tom Brady owned us for his entire career. I'll say this though. Tom Brady's first Madden game was Madden 2001. Did you see the graphics that they put up? They said this is Tom Brady's first video game all the way till now.
Do you know what his rate was? His first video game?
What was it?
57.
Yeah, man. And I'm not gonna say the homie's name because we're not cool no more, but he was the only person. This is my man. Back when Brady got drafted, he said, "Yo," and actually it was before he got drafted, but it was while he was at Michigan after they played that bowl game. He said, "Yo, Tom Brady's the real deal. People think he's whack, but wait till he get a chance in NFL." He used to always shout out Tom Brady, being a Michigan fan, because who started over him? Drew Henson? Was it Henson or Henney?
No, I think those guys that's after.
Yeah. No, it might have been Drew Henson. Somebody started over Brady. I can't remember. I'm not a Michigan fan, but he used to always say, "Man, they need to get a team to Brady. He's the way better quarterback. He's a competitor." He used to always shout him out. And little did I know that my man's was basically supporting what would be a 20-year curse against me. But he was the guy. Like, yo, he was the dude that was saying it. And I was like, yo, if I run into him, I'll be like, yo, I'll rock with you. But, yo, you were right. Tom Brady was the truth. I got to give it to you. You're the only person that ever called it. He used to tell me, like, nah, man, 40 times don't mean nothing. You know what I mean? I'm telling you, the dude know how to play quarterback. You just don't know what you're talking about. Da-da-da-da-da. And I'm over here talking about Doug Flutie stuff. And, you know what I'm saying? Like, it was crazy. I'm like, no way he'll take Bledsoe's job. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And look at that, man. Look at that.
Thanks to Mo Lewis.
Listen, man. Mo Lewis, man. Yo, I might send Mo Lewis, like, just a hateful letter. Like, yo, you didn't have to be such a dirty player. You know what I'm saying? You didn't have to do that to that man.
Mo Lewis hit Drew Bledsoe in the time Brady era took off.
Yeah, definitely, man. Yeah, so shout out to Tom Brady, man. 22 years of excellence. And they should just waive the Hall of Fame waiting period.
Let him go in right now.
Walk in right now, just in case, you know, just let him go in there now. So we know we all did it right. We all saw it. The question is, who gives his induction speech?
I say Eli Manning.
Eli Manning?
Yep.
What? Oh, funny guy. All right, but do you think there's a world where he and Belichick give each other speeches? Or maybe Robert Kraft gives Brady's induction speech?
Nah.
Because he really didn't shout out the Patriots in his farewell.
No.
He shouted out the Buccaneers, all his player friends, his entire family, his driver, his chef.
Yeah.
He shouted everybody out, and the Patriots were like, yo, shouts to the GOAT. And he was like, yeah, shouts to you too, baby.
Yeah.
He gave him the little double point.
Yeah, I think.
He was like, ha, I got to get to my limousine. You know what I'm saying?
I think it was just the way it all played out.
Yeah.
I think if he would have left New England
on better terms,
yeah, if he would have left New England on better terms, when he announced his retirement today, he might have signed a one-day contract with New England and retired that way.
We got to start a pool on who's going to give the speech. Reg says it'll be Gronk. That's a great
That's
one.
a great one.
That's a great one. But I'm wondering if it'll be somebody like Troy Brown.
Troy Brown would be a good
Troy
one.
Brown would be great. I don't know like how good at speaking he is,
Right.
but that would be super dope if Troy Brown could give that.
Mhm.
You know, he always had love for Randy Moss, man. I would love for Randy because to me that was the most potent quarterback receiver duo I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
We'll never see an offense like that again.
Mm-mm.
Only the Giants could have beaten them.
Only the Giants.
Only the Giants could have beaten them. It was bad every Sunday, man. I remember they beat the piss out of Buffalo. Oh my God. That was like, oh man. Woo.
Well, we had the defensive personnel in
Yeah.
the scheme to beat them. I saw that last regular season game when they went 16-0.
Right.
I saw that. I'm like, the final score was 30-35. I'm like, we scored the most points on them this year. And like I had extreme confidence. I'm like, if we can get to the Super Bowl and play them again, we'll beat them.
Crazy thing is, right? Out of all the Super Bowls Brady won,
Mm-hmm.
I think the year they beat the Rams, I think that was his most impressive because that team was done. It was the end of the dynasty. You could see it on the field, but Tom Brady was barely making enough plays, given the weapons that he had to keep things going. You know what I mean? Like it was, and then New England's defense definitely pitched basically a shutout on Jared Goff and the Rams.
Yeah.
They crushed McVay in them.
Yeah.
Well, I felt like Brady was making. If you watch that game, he wasn't scoring points. It was 13-3. But
yeah, it was a defensive game.
Yeah, but Brady was moving the chains, keeping the time of possession going. I mean, Edelman was falling apart.
Mm-hmm.
They still had what's my man name? Amendola, I think.
Mm-hmm.
He was falling apart. Like that team just wasn't talented at all.
Gronk was falling apart.
Yeah, if Gronk was falling apart, I would say that was his most impressive performance to me. Now, Reg, I get the game against Atlanta, right? Because for all the right reasons, right? Like he came back from a lot down.
Mm-hmm.
He threw for a bunch of yards. He did it against Philly and lost. So he did the same thing against Philly. He just lost that game,
mm-hmm.
right? Like he had an excellent performance. And
I think Belichick sabotaged him in that Philly Super Bowl too. But that's another story.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's a different one. Now we're going to conspiracy theory.
Yeah.
But what I'm gonna say about the Rams game is the better team by far was the Rams,
mm-hmm.
top to bottom.
Mm-hmm.
But Brady made just enough plays to keep them at bay. And I thought that was I thought it was people didn't like that Super Bowl. I was entertained.
I loved it.
I don't mind a defensive game.
Yeah, I loved it.
Yeah.
People I heard a lot of people say, "Oh, that Super Bowl was corny." Why? Because it wasn't 35-33.
Exactly.
Get a good defensive game every once in a while.
Right. Grow up. That's what I tell people. Grow up. That's adult football right there.
Right.
People getting hit, people getting tackled, people getting blocked.
Right.
That's it.
It's a third down. They make a tackle. It's a punt now.
Yeah.
Instead of someone converting on the 3rd and 13 every time. No. It's big boy football. You make stops on third down. You get off the field. You force on the punt. Now it's your ball.
Definitely. All right, so let's move on to some NBA talk real quick. Sixers and Grizzlies last night. No Embiid. Sixers pull it out in overtime against the Memphis Grizzlies. Tyrese Maxey, 33 points.
33 big points.
All right, because there's also some Ben Simmons conversation coming up. But what do you think Maxey's ceiling is? Give me a comparison player when you look at Tyrese Maxey. Because he's definitely a score first point guard.
Yep. That's what point guards coming into the league is now. Like that's what
nowadays,
they're grooming high school point guards, college point guards to be score first. The days of the John Stocktons are over.
Mm-hmm.
Like we're not gonna get a point guard that's I'm gonna these 15 dimes and like I score whenever.
Yeah.
Like no,
I'm not gonna average 14 and 15.
No.
Yeah.
No. I think Chris Paul is might be it of the point guards that's like, you know what, like
last of the floor
generals. Yeah, give me this good 10 points and I'm gonna drop off 18 dimes. You know what I mean? Tyrese Maxey's ceiling is. You want me to go numbers wise?
Just a player, like a player you see style wise, and
It's hard because he's not as athletic as like a Ja,
no,
and he doesn't shoot like a Dame. So
the shot is there though. He's
So,
shooting 40%
he
from three.
he can be
He shoots the three very well.
he can be like without the defense. He could be like a Mike Conley.
Okay, I can see
He
that.
could be like a Mike Conley.
I think it's guaranteed he'll be a prime Kyle Lowry,
Mhm.
right? Like I think that's definitely there, but to me, he's stronger, he's quicker, plays better defense. He's just kind of a wide-shouldered, long-armed guy,
Mhm.
and he's explosive. So he's explosive getting to the basket like he shot out of a cannon.
Like a Reggie Jackson could have.
Yeah. But it's hard because you don't really see guys at his height built up like they are. He looks like a smaller mold of Justice Winslow when he first came in,
Mhm.
like a little man child. But he's already got the long ball. He's already exploding to the basket. Like Red said, he had 4 blocks yesterday. His defense is improving.
Yeah.
I mean, in that Sixers team, without Embiid, they showed up and they gave Memphis everything they can handle. I'm trying to get people to understand when you have a guy like Tyrese Maxey growing at the rate that you do, you don't need to be in a rush to get another ball dominant player in there and to subdue what he does best.
Mhm.
You need to get players that are going to complement. Like if he's already performing well at this cheap contract level, you need to get somebody that complements that. Don't bring in a guy that's going to massage the basketball all night and put up 34 shots and try to outshoot Embiid.
Mhm.
That's not going to work. That's not good basketball. Coming into tonight, we were half a game out of first place
Mhm.
in the East. And this is without Ben.
Yeah.
I mean, I want people to appreciate what Tyrese Maxey brings. And I'm not saying like, all right, Maxey is one day going to be a top 5 player. I don't think that's in the cards for him, right? Like, I don't think physically, he's imposing enough to do that. But I do think he can be an all-star, and maybe you're Drew Holiday on your team. If you got your Giannis and Embiid, find you a Middleton. You see what I'm saying? Somebody's going to play within themselves, be an efficient wing player, 3 and D, plus a little bit more on the offensive end, and Maxey.
Mhm.
Because this dude can score, and his defense is improving. I think that's the direction the Sixers need to go. It's time to start having a deep team around the best player in the NBA.
We like you touched on. Maxey has been getting better.
Yeah.
The way to get better is playing time.
Mm-hmm.
So the more he's out there playing, now he's getting comfortable in his ability to do things that he couldn't do while playing spot minutes.
Right.
So the longer you're on that floor, now the coaches can trust you.
Right.
Now you get Embiid, your best player, to trust you. So now it's just like, all right, I'm out here now. Like now I belong. So things that I thought about doing, I can do now.
Mm-hmm.
Now I'm not looking over my shoulder. When you're a bench player, when you get out there and playing, but every time that horn go off, it's a dead ball. Now you're looking over your shoulder like, oh, he coming to get me.
Right.
Now I'm the starter. So now my leash is longer. So I can go out there and I could turn the ball over. I'm not getting pulled.
You can play with a clear mind.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm not getting pulled. So now I could just go. So now you see that he's out there playing free. And then now with Embiid there, he plays his role. All right, the big guy got to eat. So we're going to make sure he eats. And then I'll get mine. Now last night, without Embiid, I think Doc, I don't know if this was true. I'm just, paraphrasing. Doc might have been like, look, there's no Embiid, so you have to be
aggressive,
more aggressive.
But he's judicious about the way he attacks.
Right.
I don't think Maxey is like the reckless young player. Like he didn't play like that last night. And I thought Doc did a great job with the rotation.
Yeah, he got his in the system.
Right. Like the Sixers played a lot of team basketball, and they asked Drummond to basically be the pivot of the entire offense. So get the ball to the guy who can see over the defense, and he'll move the ball around, play through him, and then when he's off the floor, everybody go through Tobias, which is that can come and go, right? Like but Tobias has been playing well lately, so I'm not gonna totally kill him. But
you'll kill him tomorrow.
I'll kill him tomorrow because he's just bound to do bad things. Like it's just who he is. I'm coming to accept it. But with Maxey, he's got a little more moxie and savvy than most players
his age,
and at this stage of his career. So it's like I enjoy watching it, and I think, like I said, his ceiling is definitely all-star caliber, third piece on a championship team. You know what I mean? Because he could do it. Now Ben Simmons, a new report came out today. He's still upset at Doc Rivers. Said there was a point when he wanted to play, but he was upset that no one came to see him while he was training. He also says his reps and his people told the media that they don't give a blank about the money. You know, they believe that what Ben is doing is right. And when somebody's not at peace with where they want to be at, money becomes no object. But it just, you know, Ben has lost over $19 million this year.
Mm-hmm.
He hasn't been paid since he got $8 million on October 1st. And he's probably going to lose the rest of the season's salary because they're still finding him even though he's showing up.
Right.
They're saying, no, you're not showing up in the way that you need to show up. Failure to rent services. And they said every week he should get like a check for $1.25 million or whatever. They send an explanation, a detailed explanation. So that tells me the Sixers are covering their legal bases and they're ready to take this to arbitration.
Right.
This is going to become a players union issue very soon. And the NBA owners are coming for you, for the players.
Mm-hmm.
This is the front line that they're fighting. And I still believe to this day that the Sixers ownership group is doing this for the rest of the owners.
Right.
Yeah, they're taking on this battle. But it seems like after every key win of the Sixers, another Ben Simmons story comes out. Another, you know, article with his comments and how he feels comes out, still trying to, I guess, throw salt.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think Ben is regretting this? Especially looking at how well the team's doing.
Yeah, I think so. I think like as the team started to win and climb up in the standings, and then Maxey is playing at the level he's playing at.
Yeah,
I think Ben is like, they don't need me. I don't have the leverage.
no,
I had a little leverage when they were at the bottom of the East. Now it's like, all right, now I'm gonna poke my chest out like I ain't showing up. You need me. Now it's like when the Sixers made that turnaround, now he's like, like I got pie in my face.
Red said he sounds like somebody mad that nobody called them after they told everybody not to call them.
Right.
That's a fact.
Right.
And also in the article it says Rich Paul was trying to reason with him. I think you should go back and show good faith. Ben tried to rush to the arena and then they turned him away after the preseason game and he got mad. But they were like, yo, you didn't get COVID tested or nothing. Like, we got protocols, we got all this other stuff.
Yeah.
But but then Ben is doing his own thing. This is not Rich Paul's only doing what the client wants to do, which is not what I always thought. I thought this was a political play by them.
Mm-hmm.
But he's not even listening to his agent.
No.
So I mean, this is sour grapes. I think he's regretting it because at his core, I don't think he's a bad guy, right? Like, I don't think he's like a jerk. I just think he's been spoiled.
Mm-hmm.
And then
that's clear.
And when you're in your 20s as a man, you got prideful moments. Oh, I'm not going to talk to that guy, even though y'all could squash whatever y'all have. Oh, I'm not going to apologize to her. I'll get a new girl. You're going to regret this at some point.
Yep.
Because one thing you can't get back is time. And if it's one thing that every man learns, regardless if he wants to admit it or not, is the value of time. This is valuable time. And from what the article was saying, Rich Paul and them understand that they've lost leverage, which is what I'm trying to get through the Sixers fans. Because they want the Sixers to just trade Ben for anything. Like, half the fan base is just nuts.
Right.
Like, oh, trade him straight up for Halliburton. First of all, the money is not going to work. Second of all, what are you talking about? Like, this is like, if you want to hear a more unreal trade scenario talk, like trade scenario conversation, join the Sixers group. This is the nuttiest thing ever. Halliburton scores 38 one night against the Sixers, and people are ready to like throw a ticker tape parade, and they think acquiring him is Moses Malone. Like, he's gonna put us over the top. People are wild out there. But I think the Sixers understand he's still a franchise cornerstone type of player, and they're not just gonna deal him for anything.
And I think teams out there are seeing what we're seeing. The Sixers are winning. He's not playing. So now it's like that asking price that you threw out there.
Right.
No. Because you don't need him.
Red said he needs to watch his wife too. What woman accepts a proposal from a guy with mental issues?
Hey, Red, you
that's bugged out. Yo, shout out to our comments, man. Shout out to our comments. Red said she's Robin Givens, man. She just there to bring the champ down, man.
That's it.
Yo, yeah, it's just wild that these stories come out every time the Sixers make a push. It's like, oh yeah, Sixers beat the Warriors. Update. Ben Simmons and his reps still say F y'all.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's like,
yeah,
bro.
It's like they wanna throw salt on every time the Sixers do something good.
Yeah, let your pride go. Let your pride go. Now, is this a trade you would take? Ben Simmons for Halliburton, Buddy Hield, and Marvin Bagley. All three of them.
Yeah.
I don't want Hield. I want Harrison Barnes. I don't even want Bagley because we got backup big men, right? Like, I'll take Harrison Barnes, Halliburton, and I don't know, a hustle player, because I think Harrison Barnes is the prize piece in that, because he's a two-way player. He plays 2 or 3 positions, and he's a veteran. Veterans win championships. I try to tell people, Tyrese Halliburton will get here with expectations on a winning team, and we won't see 33 points because he doesn't even do it out there, and they're a terrible team. He doesn't lift the level of the Kings. He just has a green light.
Yeah, and people gotta put this in perspective. Like, that's Sacramento.
It's Sacramento, yeah.
Like, there's no coverage of y'all. Like, you're not on TV. You just out there playing. Like, when you come to a team like Philly, even if you come to Philly and Philly's having a down year, this market and its fan base,
they're gonna kill you.
Yes. So they gotta pump the brakes on that expectation of someone coming from a small market and coming to a big market, and they want them to like succeed just like that.
Yeah, I always said Tyrese Halliburton, I don't know his mental makeup, but the second he gets here with Embiid playing like that, if we make that trade, he's going to be compared to Ben Simmons by this fan base. And who can withstand that pressure? And also, he's a bit ball dominant, right? So you're going to now take the ball out of Maxi's hands for another young guy. You're going to start 2 young kids in your backcourt. Doesn't make sense at all, man. Veterans win championships. Ask Dirk Nowitzki, 2011. Veterans win championships. You've never seen an NBA team full of kids win a championship. It doesn't happen. You need veterans. Sixers fans, you need veterans. That's what wins championships. I want 8, 9, 10-year veterans. Harrison Barnes won a championship with the Warriors. We can remember that because it just happened with Steph Curry and Clay. Then he won 73 games with them, and he was the 3rd best player on the team. He was better than Draymond. He was better than Sean Livingston. He was better than Barbosa. Iguodala. He was better than he was better than David Lee was.
Andrew Bogut.
Yeah, Andrew Bogut. All of those guys. He's definitely better than Kevon Looney. Yeah. So this is what I'm saying. Like, I really want the Sixers. If you're going to make this move, bring back vets, and we could talk about this all night. I'm not going to do it. How bad is the Knicks season on a scale of 1 to 10?
-10.
I think this might be one of the more disappointing seasons in the last 20 years in sports. For them to come up and then to go right back down like this is awful.
Yeah, they caught lightning in a bottle last year.
Yeah. Do you see a major move coming?
Yes, I think they're going to get rid of Julius Randle. I don't think he wants to be there anymore.
What do you think is the realistic destination? Because I don't know if he goes back to LA.
I don't. Cleveland? But if I'm Cleveland, I don't really want to do that because
I don't want to break up my chemistry.
Yeah, I got a nice little core going on right now, so I don't want him in Chicago.
Right.
And now I'm teams that can make the playoffs.
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah, this is gonna be a tough one, man. The Knicks. I looked at that team, and the more I watch them, the more they lose, the more disinterested they become,
Mm-hmm.
and the more they just look like they want to get Tibbs fired.
Yeah.
I think a lot of this has to do with Tibbs coaching. I think he's already worn thin after the first year. Those players don't want to play that style of basketball. No one wants to play like that.
No.
Sir, this is not the military. You know what I mean? We're not conscripted, sir.
Tibbs was the reason why Chicago didn't win the championship.
Yeah.
At the time where there was D Rose and Noah and Dang and a young Jimmy Butler, Boozer, because the year Derrick Rose tore his ACL, playing the Sixers in the playoffs, the 1-8 matchup, game 1, we're up by like 25.
You're killing the Sixers.
Late in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, I would think I was drunk and it was an afternoon game.
Why is Derrick Rose still in the game?
Yeah.
He goes to the basket to do his patented floater, comes down, ACL. We're up by 25. Why is he still in the game?
It's Tibbs, man. I think Tibbs wore out his welcome, and I think he gets fired at the end of the season.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think Tibbs makes it another year because just the amount of letdown in the New York market is, I think, just going to be too great. He's not going to be able to survive that.
Nah. I think it was before he got the job. It was like a big day in New York because I believe he was on Van Gundy's staff.
Mm-hmm.
So it was just like, okay, Tibbs from New York. He was a coach. Yeah, he's coming back home. But then now, like when you get him in your building, and then when you see how he runs his players into the ground, it's like nowadays, like these kids now, like these guys in the NBA, like they low managed now, so they don't want to play that style.
No,
this is not the 80s and the 90s and the early 2000s. Like we want to be able to not play back to backs.
Yeah, he's treating them like a hockey team.
Right.
Yeah.
Like it's not gonna happen. Like back in the day, like guys took pride in playing 82 games. They took pride in playing.
Mm-hmm.
Now these guys just be like, "Oh, my fingernail hurts, coach. I need the rest,
coach. I think I need a backiotomy."
Right.
But it's because I'm 6'5" and I've been in the low post all game, getting hammered. And they play the Lakers tonight. So, or is it tomorrow night?
The Knicks play the Lakers Saturday.
Saturday. Okay, yeah, I saw that commercial, man. They're on the West Coast swing and they just don't look good at all.
No.
I was just like, man, this is bad. This is bad. It's bad for everybody. It's bad for the NBA. It's just all around bad. Yo, man, this was a great show, man. I got a flight to catch in the morning.
Yeah, man.
I'm going away, but we'll be back next week at our regular time on Wednesday.
Yeah.
On Wednesday. Anything before we go, man?
Nah, man. Nope. Just man, have a safe flight, my man.
Yeah, man. Special Tuesday. I'm gonna stop in Miami, check out my mans, and then I'm gonna pop out to Atlanta and hang out with the family for the whole weekend, man. So I'm gonna have a good time. First stop is Zaxby's.
Yes.
All right? When we do the fast food draft, Zaxby's is getting drafted number one
overall.
Right, number one out of the state of Georgia, out of the state of Athens, Georgia. Zaxby's. That's it. That's what we're doing, man. But yo, make sure y'all like, subscribe, share. Indio Group on YouTube, Indio Media Group on Facebook. You know what I'm saying? Support us, independent podcasters. Shout out to the people that listen and comment and chime in every week. We're a little off schedule this week, but we'll be back next week to definitely break down the Super Bowl and any other news that happens. We're going to have our ear to the streets this week, man. But, y'all have a safe week. Be blessed, and we'll see y'all next episode. Peace.
Yeah, it's about time we get another guest up on